tonight. In just hours, the FBI will either make or miss a deadline to produce a document congressional Republicans say will likely prove that when President Biden was vice president, he took money in exchange for policy decisions. House Oversight Chair James Comer says tomorrow will be a bad day for the White House. Meantime, let's bring in tonight's panel. Fox News contributor Leslie Marshall and California GOP Chairwoman Jessica Milan Patterson. Thank you both for coming on. I mean, you talk about James Comer. He laid down the gauntlet today. I want to play an expanded version of what Kevin was playing, and I'll get your response on this. Watch this. That is a bold promise, Jessica.
It certainly is. And the problem that Americans have right now is the fact that there seems to be two different tiers of justice, right? We saw when there was a raid on Mar-a-Lago, and then the very different way President Biden's documents were set up. We want to see that this was investigated properly. And that's why Americans voted in a House set of Republicans, so that these types of investigations, and we have some balance in Washington, D.C. Yeah. The easiest way to get past this is to supply the document.
Right, and that's the whole thing. If they supply the document, Leslie, and this statement proves to be what they say it is, it's bad news for the White House. James Comer is right.
Yeah, I'm not a betting girl, but I'm going to go to Vegas with this one, and let me tell you why. One, they are making these allegations based on a document that, one, they don't really know exists. Two, they've never seen themselves. So we may have the Justice Department and the FBI say, nada, we're not going to produce anything because there's nothing to produce. And we've also heard for 5 years the GOP made these attacks, and we've seen zero evidence. Comer has said we're having a big revelation. It's going to be a bad day for the White House again. And honestly, I think the American people are intelligent enough to know that this is politics, you know, at its finest.
Well,
you're trying to smear the guy that you're going to be going up against.
It's politics until you produce the evidence, Jessica, and that's the key here. If you produce the goods, if James Comer is coming out tomorrow and he produces the goods that he just said, he's right. It's going to be a bad day for the White House.
This is a 4 to 6 page document that credible whistleblowers have talked about. Produce the document or say that the document doesn't exist. The FBI, DOJ has done neither.
Meantime, back to the campaign. This is important. I want your opinion on this devastating Washington Post poll. It's talking about, do you think Biden has the mental sharpness to serve? 32% say yes. Good physical health to serve? 33% say yes. If you do the context in this, you poll, because they polled 1,000 people. 668 of those 1,000 people said that he is not physically or mentally able to be the president. Your thoughts?
Many thoughts. One, in this poll, one of the problematic areas of the poll is they also polled people that weren't registered to vote. Two, you saw Rasmussen had very different numbers when it came to, mental awareness, when it came to popularity. And then three, if polls are to be believed, then the Republicans wouldn't have such a slim majority, and they'd also have a majority in the Senate, which they don't have. I'm honestly saying since 2016, I just can't believe the polls. They change so much day in and day out. And after the midterms, there wasn't a tsunami. I'm still sitting here. I would have drowned. So
it's sad to see a Democrat saying they don't believe in the polls. I mean, now these polls aren't worth anything.
Well, what's interesting is that this isn't a Republican talking point, right? You saw 7 out of 10 independents feel this way. This is something that should very seriously concern all Democrats and Democrat strategists. They have a problem at the top of the ticket, and it's going to affect everything from the presidency all the way down.
20 seconds each. Why is Joe Biden losing so much support with non-white voters in this Washington Post poll?
I think, honestly, and we saw this happen with Barack Obama as well, I think they wanted more things delivered by the president in their communities. And, you know, you see that with different things. We see it with progressives in my party. You see it with evangelicals in the Republican Party. But at the end of the day, like we saw in the midterms, it is the economy, but then there are other issues, and certainly women, and not just Democratic women. They're going to say, when it comes to abortion or book banning, I'll take Joe.
She's right. Long way to go.
Well, when we see these numbers coming in on the Democrat side, what the reality is that Democrats have not delivered for these communities. So they're opening their eyes and listening, sometimes for the first time, to what the Republican message is. If you want a safer community, if you want a good job to go to, if you want your children to have the best possible education, Democrats have failed you on every single level.
Jessica, Leslie, thank you both.